This is something I just wanted to get off my chest because a recent conversation I had with a client highlighted to me how a lot of people out here don't understand the difference between price and value. And I intentionally set high prices because I want a certain type of client and I want to solve a certain type of problem. And that is, I want to solve business problems from high value clients, knowing that I can deliver on my offer, I can make the guarantees, and I'm not going to charge them unless I actually deliver good value. So I'm trying to repel bad clients and attract good clients who have real problems and understand that what solving them is really worth. So I say 99% of the time, anyone who comes to see me knows how big their problem is. They know how valuable it is if they get it solved, and they don't have a problem paying me for that because they have real big problems that can make them lots of money and provide them lots of value if they could only find someone to solve it. So what happens is when you find the person who's not like that, yet is wanting your help and they're complaining about your price. That's the type of person I try to avoid with the high prices, but sometimes they can still slip through. These are people who I think they may have the money, but they're cheap. And so they're also curious as to how you're able to charge so much. And part of the reason is, I have great reviews, great testimonials, a high rating. B, I solve a specific technical problem that impacts people's business. And C, pricing, I learned this from one of my favorite financial writers and um, influencers, Ramit Sethi. He said something. Pricing is strategic. I'm intentionally pricing this way, even though I could price cheaper because it fits in with what I want in terms of my working environment, my working relationships, the way I live, the quantity of work I want. Right? It's strategic. I'm not trying to be the cheapest guy. Now, I'm probably one of the best guys you're going to find, right? I don't know. I've never personally met any marketers who can do what I do, although I'm sure yes, they exist, right? These are people I also learn from, but they're mostly older than me and they work on things bigger than me and they charge way more than me, right? So, but the point was that sometimes these people slip through and it's very obvious that they don't understand the difference between price and value. And here's what I mean by that. Say you were going to go with a bare minimum Facebook ad campaign for a month, $10 a day. That's going to run you $300 a month just to run the ads. Now, ask yourself this. If you've done advertising before and you weren't successful, which is probably the case if you're reaching out to me, and you want me to fix your problem for you or help you get on the path to fixing your problem, help you get data so that you can experiment, give you some tips as someone who's done this many times and who's helped other people do this many times, wouldn't you expect to pay probably about the same amount, right? So, not only the difference for me is these people have skewed expectations of what you do and what it's worth, and they don't understand the value of what I'm teaching you. You couldn't spend this money any other way and get these results outside of going to someone like me. It just wouldn't be possible. It's really a deal if you know what you're getting. I know what it takes because I went through it, right? It took me years, right? Years of nonstop work to get to the point to be able to give you this info, let alone execute on it. Just to tell you what it takes requires lots of work, right? Lots of work, lots of time, lots of dedication and commitment. So people have a skewed idea of the value they receive. They really don't understand. And so I try to avoid that with all the barriers I put up, all my reviews, all of the description of what I do, my high price. It's a gate to filter these people out. But some people have a little bit of money, they don't want to read, and they're super skeptical of everything they see if they do read. So it's like, okay, every once in a while, one of them will slip through. And I just like, you don't understand. You're looking at the price I'm charging you per hour, despite the fact that it's guaranteed, right? If you don't get the value, you don't pay. But these are people who are not very, I've noticed, perceptive. And they also tend to think they know more than they do. It's like, you don't understand the difference between a activity and a specialty. There's no way in hell you could possibly know what I know if you didn't go through what I went through, right? I'm an above average intelligent person who also is I work harder than average and I work longer than average. So unless you went the direct route I went, or you learn from someone like me, in which case you wouldn't be coming to me because you would have had to pay them, right? Uh, there's no way it's not possible. You're not in a position to know what I know. But it's like, for some people, they really seem to believe that they can do anything anyone else has done. And I just think to myself, what do you think I've been doing? Right? Like, do you think other professionals don't work hard at their profession? And it's anyone can just jump in and start doing what we do at day one. And what's funny is these people never turn that same viewpoint on themselves. Do you think I could come do your job and just overnight get the same results as you and know what I'm doing just like that? No, of course not. And I don't have those assumptions, but I've noticed sometimes the type of people I don't work with, I don't want to work with, they're quick to make a lot of assumptions that have no basis, and that's very annoying to people who are precise about what they do. Right? Like, I know it takes a certain amount of it takes doing things a specific kind of way to get the specific result you want. You can't wing it. There's no shortcuts to it. It's it's just work. It just takes work, period. It takes work and time, and also a lot of, you know, thoughtfulness, thinking things through. So I just wanted to point out that if you find some client like this who just doesn't get it, no matter how much proof you put up, how many signals you put out there that, hey, I'm trying to work with serious people. If you're looking for cheap, go get them. I didn't, you know, you contacted me. I didn't contact you. And that's another thing. I prefer the clients who contact me because typically they get it. I don't know what this guy was up to, but I'm like, bro, there's a million cheaper guys out there. If cheap is what you're worried about, if price is what you're worried about, go to them. And what you'll find is, if you don't buy it right, you buy it twice. All right. You're paying me to get it done right the first time. Or you can pay them to get it done wrong, right? And it'll take them a couple times. But basically, you're not saving any money to get a good solution in most cases. You are paying a lower price so that someone else can gain experience at your expense, right? And they might get it right, they might not. You're playing the odds. For someone who can get it right the first time, they're gonna charge like it because they put the time in, right? They put the time and the effort in to be professionals and deliver results. And I value my time more than you value your money. That's why I charge such a high price. I don't want to be with the client that takes 10 hours to get something done, right? My goal is to get things done as quickly as possible. If it wasn't the case, I'd lower my price and I'd have more clients and it would take more time out of my day. No, I value my time a lot. That's why I charge a high price for it. I don't want to spend, you're thinking I'm going to try to spend 5 hours on this. No, I've built up my skill set enough that I can probably get it done in less than an hour. That's why I charge like that. Right. So they don't get it, right? They don't realize that, hey, the guy that's 10 times cheaper is probably 100 times worse. It's those people usually will go to someone cheap first, realize that the guy can't do it, and the guy's not going to charge you much because he can't guarantee you much, and he also doesn't have much to lose. He doesn't have much reputation to worry about, right? He's he's just starting, right? So, okay, fine. You can go that route and pay for that guy to figure out what he's doing and hopefully get lucky and get you some results along the way. But that shows me you don't value your time like I value my time, right? I try to be as professional as possible, right? Okay, so yeah, just make sure you do your best to filter out the people who don't understand the difference between price and value. And typically, these are people who don't understand what you do because they probably didn't read in the first place. And when you see the signs of that kind of person, you want to get away from them as much as possible. Because if you do value their time, you realize they're not worth your time. Even if they paid you the money, they're just headache clients. They don't get it. And even if you help them, they don't really understand what you did for them in the first place, right? Like there's always going to be a certain percentage of people who just don't get it. And if someone's coming to you with their last $250 and they're acting like it's their last $250, they probably made a lot of mistakes before this and didn't listen to a lot of people who could have helped them, and now they're just screwed because they're too, arrogant to listen. They don't have enough sense to listen to people who are experts at what they do and who know better, and they're just looking for someone to magically put a band-aid on them. They have unrealistic expectations, and those are just not good people to work with. The people who have the money, understand your value, and have reasonable expectations are way better to work with, and it's worth waiting for them or worth seeking them out. And you don't have to accept everyone who comes up to you, right? Like these kind of people, I like to send them away. It's like, you know what, you need to go find someone else. you know, yeah, or you need a different type of solution. I'm not the guy for you. And when you really believe in what you do and the results you can get for people who do fit for you, you don't have a problem sending people away who don't fit because you're trying to be specific with who you serve and what you do and be a specialist. And this doesn't fit in with that. Like there's a lot of things I could offer, but I've been doing it so long that I've picked a lane that really works for me and that I'm comfortable with. And I don't promote other offers, even though I can do them, because either they don't pay like I want, or I don't enjoy the work, even though I can get the results, or they're too slow for me, or I don't like the kind of client they attract, whatever it is. I'll give you an example. I used to teach students. I don't do it anymore. I only provide solutions for businesses, right? So like, I'm not so interested in teaching people who are in college or something like that. I train other marketers, or I provide solutions to businesses, right? So that's the niche that I like to serve, um, and that's how I try to attract people who get it. All right, so hope to help some of you guys out if you're thinking about how to offer your services and how to price yourself strategically and where you'd want to be. But I know for me personally, I just keep adding value as much as possible, doing my research, staying up to date on the trends, making myself faster, more automated, more systematized, and more impactful. And I mean, if you do that over and over and over again, at some point, yes, you're going to look up and say, well, the other things I could be doing are not as lucrative as this, or not as, don't energize me the same as this does. They don't feel as fun. So let me just stick to this and leave that other stuff to other people. And I just think that's the natural progression, right? When you first start off, you try anything, and then eventually you put in so many reps that you realize where you actually would rather be. So hope that guys helps you guys pick your path, and it may change in the future. I mean, it probably will. Mine did. It's really hard to nail things the first time exactly, but you put in your reps and you see what sticks. All right. So hope that helps, guys. Good luck, and do your best to avoid problem clients.